Hi, this is Jana from Sydney Visa, and if you're planning to move to Australia with a young child, one of the first questions that pops up usually is something like, and what happens before school? Yeah, what about kindy? What options there are for little kids? And honestly, it is completely normal to feel confused. Australia has several types of early childhood services, has different names in different states, and can be quite confusing. And then, of course, it has different government subsidies on top of that. So let's slow everything down, take a breath and walk through the system together, hopefully in a simple and a human way. But at the end, you'll understand the big picture, the age groups and how families usually navigate care for children under 5. Okay, before school, which starts at 5 or sometimes 6-year-old, you can make the decision yourself for your child. Everything falls under something called early childhood education and care. So think of it as a whole world of learning and care for children from birth until they start primary school. There are 4 main types of services you will hear about. So there is long day care. So these are big childcare centers. There is family daycare, so it is a care in someone's home. Community preschools, so they're smaller non-for-profit preschools for 3 to 5-year-olds. And there is also school-based preschools. So these are preschools, same for 3 to 5 years old, located on the grounds of a public primary school. And just so you're prepared, the names can change depending on whether you live. So, for example, New South Wales and ACT, it's called preschool. Victoria, Queensland and WA usually say kindergarten or kinder. But we are talking about the same idea, so the years before formal primary school starts. So let's talk ages, because that's usually the simplest way to understand your options. So from about 6 weeks, that's as early as 6 weeks, to 5 years, most families choose either long day care or family day care. From 3 to 5, children can also attend a preschool or the kindergarten program. Then around the age of 3 or 6, they begin full-time school. So first year of school in Australia is essentially year 0, and it's called differently in different states. So it might be kindergarten, and it's what's called kindy in New South Wales, prep or reception in other states. Essentially, year 1 is always going to be your second year of school. So it's always, there is a year 0. So that year 0 is usually a kindy at 5 years old. Let's start with long day care, because it is the most widely used option. These are the larger childcare centers, modern buildings, different rooms for each age group, a mix of play spaces, educators, routines, and a full-day program. Parents usually use this option if they work full-time, if they need those longer hours, and if they want sort of consistency throughout the year. Most of the centers open early, they close late, and they run almost every week of the year. So they run for the entire year. And even though people call it childcare, it isn't just babysitting. There is a national learning program behind everything. So even for babies and toddlers, the educators are planning activities, play experiences, and early learning moments. Many centers provide all meals. They follow nutrition guidelines, and for the littlest ones, they often provide nappies as well. The price before government support can feel high, but most families do receive a childcare subsidy, which reduces the fee significantly. We'll talk more about this shortly. Now, family daycare is a very different experience, and some parents absolutely love it. Imagine your child spending the day in a warm home environment with a small group of children, usually no more than 4 little ones of preschool age. The educator runs the service from their own home, but they're still trained, approved, and supervised under the national theme. This can work beautifully if you prefer a quieter, calmer setting, if you'd like more one-on-one attention for your child, and more flexible hours than big centers can offer. Some family daycare educators even open early mornings, late evenings, or even weekends, so you kind of do the arrangements with them one by one. And only thing to keep in mind is that if your educator is sick or on holidays, there is no automatic replacement and you might need a backup plan. Next, let's talk about community preschools. These are usually non-for-profit services that focus on preschool education for children aged 3 to 5. They run during school term, mostly with school-like hours, for example, 9 to 3 p.m. And this option is perfect for families who don't need the full day care. Yeah? So if they have one parent working part-time or staying at home, obviously a 3 p.m. pickup, if both of you work full-time, might be quite challenging. And if you want a strong educational program for socialization and school readiness, since these centers have more educational and school readiness programs and focus. Children typically bring their own lunch box, and just like they will at school, and because states usually provide extra funding for these preschool age children, community preschools can be much more affordable than long daycare. And then we have preschools located at public primary schools. This is usually just the year before school, often for 4-year-olds turning 5. These programs feel very connected to the school environment. Children learn routines, meet teachers, explore the playground, and get comfortable being part of the school community. Hours are school hours and during school terms only. And these programs are often lower cost because they are funded by the state, but they don't usually qualify for the federal Child Care Subsidy since they're not really, they are education-based, not childcare-based. So for families who want their child to transition smoothly into primary school, this can be an excellent fit. All right, let's talk about the financial side, because this is where new arrivals usually say, what, how much, is it per month? Oh no, this is per day. And yes, it is. The daycare options are expensive. It will vary by state, but I expect to see the price tag of an average of $120 per day. But for most families, this cost is subsidized. You'll hear 2 layers of financial support. There is Child Care Subsidy, and this is a federal subsidy that reduces the cost of approved childcare services. So things like long daycare, family daycare, some of your preschool, but not often, and other like after school care. So if we're talking about school age children, that's part of that gets subsidized by this childcare subsidy as well. The amount you get depends mainly on your family income, so it's means tested, and your work and study hours. So if one of the parents, if mom say doesn't work or study, you won't get that subsidy. So yeah, you need to either work, study, or open a business. The maximum amount of the subsidy is 95%, so that means that the government can pay up to 95% of your childcare costs directly to the provider. So you'll be left only with 5% of that $120. Again, it is means tested, and that percentage will depend on your income. Childcare subsidy is only available to citizens, PR residents, New Zealand citizens in Australia on a 444 visa, and also to temporary partner visa holders. So yeah, the partner visa, it starts with the temporary, then moves on to the permanent. So while your permanent makes sense, it's a permanent visa, but the temporary part of a partner visa allows you to receive childcare subsidy, and also humanitarian visas as well. They will allow childcare subsidy. Unfortunately, if you are on a temporary visa like a student visa or 491 visa, this option is unavailable to you, and the childcare cost will be out of pocket. So when you arrive in Australia, how do you decide what's best? Here are the simplest way to think about it. How old is your child? So babies and toddlers usually go to long daycare or family daycare. 3 to 5-year-olds have more choices, including community and school-based preschools. Do you need a full day coverage? So if both parents work full-time, you'll probably lean towards long day care or a combination of care types. If you don't need long days, a preschool program might be perfect for you. Also ask yourself a question: what kind of environment suits your child? A big center with lots of children, or a cozy home-based setting, a school-like routine to help with the transition, and also what's available in your area. And this is part that's important. Popular centres often have wait lists, especially for children under 2. So as soon as you know where you live, start putting your child's names down. I hope this video was useful. If you still have questions, please ask in the comments section. If you need assistance with your Australian visa or migration pathway, please reach out. Sydney Visa will be happy to help. Cheers from down under. Goodbye.